1 year doesn't make a case. Trends do. Let's be clear. Every year we run the Elavay Advocacy Intelligence Report to provide a snapshot in time of the performance of pharma, biotech, med device, PBMs, payers, and specialty pharmacies, as well as some genomics laboratories on their efforts in patient advocacy engagement, as well as their work with professional societies and community-based organizations. Any organization that says they do patient advocacy, we want to understand what their customers, the patient advocacy organizations, professional societies, and CBOs, think about that work that they've done. And again, it's a snapshot in time, typically between October and February every year. That is the snapshot that we're looking at. But again, that snapshot does not mean that is the performance level of your team. It means this is the current perception based off of what that organization has been feeling from your work alongside of them, but also the pressure maybe they may be feeling from your organization's leadership outside of advocacy. Again, 1 year, one snapshot in time does not make a case. Trends do. Make sure that you are making decisions for budget, headcount, programs, reevaluation of programs, not based off a single snapshot in time, but off of the trend over how you've looked over the last 11 years, something that only we at Elavay are able to provide. Deep insights across 8 different domains for the last 11 years. Couple that data with the way that your company has changed, disease states you've entered or exited, downsizing within your advocacy function, upsizing within your advocacy function, new relationships, new targets, new responsibilities, new organizational focuses. How has all of that impacted your team and the way they're perceived by their customers based on the trends, not the snapshot in time? As I've noted, we've been running the Elavay Advocacy Intelligence Report for the last 11 years. We know what works and we know what doesn't. We know the leading indicators that point to future success. We know the lagging metrics that also point to future success or failure. For example, when we look at the corporate reputation metrics, of which are made up of 7 submetrics, the access, the organization's access, meaning the patient advocates, the professional societies, and the community-based organizations' access to your senior leadership is a leading indicator of your performance in that metric overall for corporate reputation in the next year. Do they feel important? Do they feel like they, as a patient advocacy organization, are important to your business? How do most of them perceive that? Does your C-suite show up? Does your medical leadership show up? Do those that are responsible for selecting sites for clinical trials or developing protocols for clinical trials want to meet with them? That's what we mean by access to leadership. It's not just your CEO. It's truly any leader outside of patient advocacy. And we know that within the advocacy role, it can be difficult at times to get other leaders to show up. That's where we come in. At ARCO, it's our job to tell the story of the trends over time, of what's going to help move the needle, what's going to shape the organization's perspective, what's going to change the organization's perspective over time, how the community and patients are going to view the reputation of your organization, and what you can do to control that. Don't let a snapshot in time hold you back from getting the data. May you look good, may you look poor. You see, if we go back 5 years ago, a pharmaceutical organization that had been ranked in the top 3 opted to buy our report. They loved that they could go around their company talking about this snapshot in time, how well their team performed, and that they were doing an amazing job, of which they were. We also saw some metrics that didn't look as great. Major opportunities that we knew were leading indicators of some failures that were right around the corner. Well, unbeknownst to anyone within the patient advocacy function, the organization, the company, was going to be making changes to their development pipeline. They were going to stop all work in 2 specific disease states. Unfortunately for the patient advocacy function, that announcement was made via national press release. It wasn't even told to the patient advocacy function first. So there was no way that the patient advocacy function was able to get ahead of that, was able to blunt the fear of those patient advocacy organizations no longer being able to be called partners by that company. Because you see, when that company stopped development, that also meant they were going to stop engaging in that disease state. They didn't need to hear from advocates or patients in those disease states anymore. That was a massive blow because you have to understand something. Patient advocates and the patient community have really good memories. They know who's been there for them and they know who have dropped them, and they will remember that. Unfortunately for this particular pharmaceutical company, within 3 years, they had opted to get back into one of those disease states that they had dropped. That company, more than likely, based off of my own analysis, ended up having to spend more money in 1 year to try to get those organizations to pay attention to them again, to see them as a player within that disease state. They spent more money in that 1 year than they would have had to spend over 3 years of, yes, reduced engagement, but still engaging within that disease state. Why not keep those organizations moving along with you? Why not keep a pulse on that patient population? Why not understand the gaps in that patient population? You see, the pharmaceutical and biotech industry have really funny ways of new products coming to market and new innovation in disease states that we thought we had capped out coming to market to only be better than what we had before. That's why it's so vital that we recognize that the annual report, the annual Elavay fielding, is just a snapshot in time. Fortunately for us, though, at ARCO, we've been doing this for 11 years. And as noted, we can tell you exactly where you're more than likely going to go in the next year, where your competitors are moving, what that has looked like for them over the last 11 years, what we're hearing through our partners, both in industry and in the nonprofit sector, and how you can move yourself into a better position, not just for now, but for the long term, because trends are everything. Your opportunity to understand the trends is one email away. Reach out to us at Elavay, that's ELAVAY, at ARCO, ARCHO.io, to hear more about what the trends look like for your company, with a complimentary historical analysis to show you over the last 5 years how your company has moved. And let's have a discussion about how much of that was based off of work by your advocacy function or the impact of decisions made by senior leaders that didn't truly understand the trust capital that was going to be wasted. Let us help you tell your story. Let us help you show your leaders where the trends are moving, and more importantly, where your advocacy function should be to capitalize on that for both the organization's success and the patient's success.